YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. Week 6, college football against the spread picks for the top games this week. I got score predictions for the top 25 games on our Patreon. Also, we'll have best bets for every single week. That goes for NFL as well. So check it out, link in description. Also, make sure you follow our Twitter for constant updates. Always talking football with you guys. And that's how you join our picks league for college football and NFL. So making these picks every single Wednesday. Hopefully you can join us. Leaderboard, we got a tie in first place. You know, Matt Latt was there last couple weeks. So now we got Marl Borman, probably saying that wrong, tied. Pretty good numbers there. Not too far behind as well. But to this week's picks, you see above me some more info on the Patreon. Pretty soon, once we get approved for super follows on Twitter, it'll be the same deal, but through Twitter, a little easier. Probably offer a little more. So that's coming in the near future. Kind of the same idea, so keep an eye on that. Red River, Oklahoma, Texas. Texas is underdogs by 3.5, and that is where I'm leaning here because I think they definitely could win the game. Not that I'm picking them. Again, I got my top 25 score predictions on Patreon, but leaning towards Oklahoma, but I think it's going to be closer than a 3-point game. So I'm going to go with Texas, who really can control the clock, pound the football, control the clock, not let Rattler kind of get in his groove, which he kind of needs to get into. So they could win because of that. So them getting 3.5 points, I'm liking them. Arkansas, Ole Miss should be a hell of a game. Both were undefeated, getting real hot before last week, and then both got beat up pretty bad, but it was to the very best teams in college football right now, the top two teams. Totally different matchup compared to their last game for both these teams. I like both these teams, but I really like Ole Miss. Matt Corral is very fun to watch. I know Alabama limited him a little bit, but I think he'll go off in this game. This is not – for Arkansas, it's not playing Georgia's defense, which is the best defense in football. So Arkansas is going to score points, but Ole Miss – one of the best offenses in the country. It's going to be tough for Arkansas to keep up. I like Arkansas's offense. Can they keep up with Ole Miss's offense? That is the question. I think Ole Miss is going to win by in the range of 7 to 10 points. That's kind of my feeling right now. Georgia and Auburn. Auburn's been playing some pretty good football, minus the game 2 weeks ago versus Georgia State. They almost lost, but they pulled it off. Penn State, they even played very well. Penn State's a very good team. They beat LSU last week, which a lot of people were picking LSU. Georgia, minus 14.5 is where I'm going, though, because Auburn still has they can run the football, but they, here and there, they still struggle in terms of the passing game, consistency in the passing game. And you're playing one of the best defenses, especially in this era. This defense of Georgia is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, elite. Is an understatement, if possible. Auburn might have struggle scoring here. I think they're going to score. I don't think Georgia completely shuts them out like they did Arkansas. I think Auburn scores, but not enough to keep in the spread. I think Georgia probably get close to 30 points. Auburn 10 points or less here. I'm feeling Georgia. They've been pretty good with the spread as well this year. Wake Forest and Syracuse, I'm trying to figure out if I'm missing something on this one. This seems like an easy one for Wake Forest. There's been a lot of those this year, though, that they kind of been traps in a way. Wake Forest looks good. We're used to Wake Forest being a good offensive team, which they are. They play pretty decent defense, too, for them being Wake Forest. Syracuse, they're starting to heat up a little bit. They look pretty bad to start the year. They're starting to play a little better. Shouldn't say heat up, but they're starting to play a little better. I'm not overly thrilled about their offense, though. And Syracuse usually plays some pretty tough defense, but not really worried about Wake Forest scoring. I think Wake Forest can win by 2 scores unless I'm missing something here. So that one seems like a pretty good one. Boise and BYU. BYU looks good. They look number 10. They look real good without Zach Wilson even, which is crazy. They're running the ball pretty damn effectively. Boise State's been pretty inconsistent. Not looking so hot lately. I'm surprised at the 3.5 line. I know Boise usually gives BYU some problems. This year's been super weird. You think you kind of have it figured out, like Wake minus 6.5, BYU minus 3.5. Looks like I think Wake's more of a lock than this one, but they look like close to locks. And something. It's just been college football this year. It's been crazy, but I like BYU. They're going to control the clock and should take care of business. Penn State, Iowa, the game of the week. This is number 4 at number 3. Two very balanced teams, but I think they're both at the same time much better on defense. they're legit. The Big Ten kind of got a little quiet last few years, and I haven't been a fan of it. It's looking good now and it starts with these two teams. And we know Ohio State's on their way back here, but these two teams making the Big Ten great again, and other teams too. Michigan, it's all looking good again. Michigan State even. So love to see that. This is a toss-up game. I'm with the points. I'm gonna take Penn State plus 3.5. I'm back and forth on who's winning the game. I think in Penn State or neutral site, there'd be no question I'll be picking Penn State. That doesn't mean I think they're gonna beat them up or anything like that. In Iowa, definitely makes it interesting. But I'm thinking Penn State can squeak by and win this game. It's tough. I'm really excited for this game. It's really a toss-up game, but getting 3.5 points definitely makes this easier to pick. Not that it's overly easy. This spread confuses me as well. There's so many of these every week that look like gems, and they end up being surprising outcomes. But Oregon State minus 3.5. Washington State has struggled. Oregon State's looked pretty good. 3.5 doesn't seem like enough. It doesn't seem like enough to me. I mean, you can't really compare based on, one game that they both had the same opponent, and it never really works, but you kind of get an idea. And then looking at how these two teams played USC definitely makes you want to side towards Oregon State even more. So I like Oregon State minus 3.5. That's definitely one that I like. Michigan, Nebraska. I'm going to go a little bold here. I mean, picking Nebraska plus 3.5 is not that bold, but I think Nebraska can win this game. Michigan's been playing really good football. Nebraska's been getting a lot better. They played Oklahoma somewhat tough. These two teams have not played, or Michigan, I should say, have not played somebody like Nebraska who's getting better. It does feel like Michigan's better right now. I got a feeling Nebraska might pull the upset here. If they lose, it'll probably be by 1 point, somewhere around there. I like that it's 3.5 because you got that field goal security there. If they lose by that, I'm going Nebraska plus 3.5. Notre Dame, Virginia Tech. I will say this. I'm surprised about the line here, and I think it's starting to shift. I know this doesn't update in this college football pick'em game, but it's starting to shift towards Virginia Tech. I thought I was going to be on to something going in this week. I was thinking this a few weeks ago. I was thinking, Virginia Tech's going to be an underdog by a good amount. I'm going to like Virginia Tech in this game a lot, but Vegas seems to be on the same page. I'm a diehard Notre Dame fan. Diehard. I got a bad feeling about this game. I got a really bad feeling about this game. I'm going to take Virginia Tech. Overall, Notre Dame is the better team. When I look at who's the better team, I don't really look at head-to-head. I look at who you can beat outside of that. Notre Dame definitely can beat more of a variety of teams. I think they can compete with those teams. But Virginia Tech's a very sneaky, very good, very sneaky team, and they match up extremely well with Notre Dame, in my opinion. This is in Virginia Tech, one of the tougher places to play. Night game, that definitely helps. That crowd's going to be nuts. And I just don't like the way they match up. Notre Dame's defense is getting a lot better from where it started. Offense is struggling mainly because they're down to rotating quarterbacks because none are playing well. I think Drew Pine's probably their best option just because, Cohn's their best option if he has time, but they just haven't had time, and that goes to the left tackle situation, down to their third-string left tackle. So that plays a part. Virginia Tech's going to come out. They're going to run the football. They're going to control the clock. Again, Notre Dame's defense has been playing really, really good lately, especially compared to early season. But I think Virginia Tech, they're not going to go crazy running on Notre Dame. I think they'll have some success, though, and they'll be able to control the clock, score enough, and play some tight defense against Notre Dame, which hasn't been hard to do. So as a Notre Dame fan, I got a bad feeling about this one. It's going to be tight. I mean, this one's saying Virginia Tech plus 1.5, but I think so many people are taking Virginia Tech that it's kind of because they're looking at that matchup like I am, like everyone else is, and it's kind of gearing towards VTech. I thought I saw the recent line was Virginia Tech -1, which I probably wouldn't touch. It's probably gonna be. I kind of feel like it's gonna be a 1-point game, but we'll see. Got a bad feeling as a Notre Dame fan. LSU, Kentucky. It's a toss-up game. Kentucky was playing a little sloppy, but winning games. The last few before Florida, number 10, they beat them, and they don't beat them up, but they handle them there. So I don't know what you base this off of. LSU's a totally different matchup than Florida. If Kentucky plays like they did very, very early season, or they did last week, Kentucky's gonna have no problem here covering this. This one I would not touch. This is one I still don't even know what I'm for. Kentucky's -3.5. I'm still back and forth on this one. I could change my mind at any time. Kentucky win by 4 points. Maybe I'm kind of back and I was playing in my head. How much is Kentucky going to win by? They're going to win by 3 or going to win by 4? I'm just back and forth between 3 and 4 here. So that makes it. I mean, you can't really put money on this game, unless you're confident in one way. Penn State, Iowa, I think would be like a 23-20 final, somewhere around there. So the total will be 43 would be my prediction. See at the bottom there. But those are my predictions. I had some upsets here if you want to consider some of these upsets. There was Oregon State I feel like I like. You have to dig in a little more. It's always tough to figure out the injuries for college football. See why that's so low. BYU looks pretty good, but not maybe. I like Wake Forest a lot. Wake Forest, Oregon State, maybe BYU, but those first two I named, I really like some really good games this week. I mean, some really good games. So really excited about that. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. We're always talking on Twitter, too, with updates and see what's happening throughout the NFL and college football. You join our Picks League, this Picks League, through the link in the comments there. That'll be through Twitter. But, yeah, that is going to do it for this one. Plenty of other NFL videos on the channel. Check them out. Please like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Much, much appreciated. Thanks for watching this video. Goodbye.